The Last of Us. A 10-hour experience with great story and greater characters. The Last of Us was cooked up by the good boys up in Naughty Dog, and it follows you taking pregnant Elliot Page over here across the country. But old Elliot Page, she's got a secret. She ain't pregnant with a fugly ass baby. She's pregnant with the cure of mankind. A lot of this game is the blossoming relationship between Joel and Ellie, and it is fucking amazing. Even small moments between the two of them are beautiful. But the biggest problem The Last of Us has is that while it has a fucking amazing story, the gameplay is some Naughty Dog shit. Most of the game is looking for generators or ladders. This game really loves its fucking ladders. I despised the gameplay for this so much that I initially hated the game on my first time round. But what would happen if we were to take elements from another game and put it into this one? It could fix the problems. Well, let me introduce you to one game. I'm talking Vice City. What? What the hell do you mean Naked Jake already combined? Yeah, fuck. Journey. This game is completely gameplay focused, with the whole point of it being you, the player's journey, through different biomes in order to get to the top of this mountain. You can probably see where I'm going with this. You start the game off as normal, playing through the hometown and the quarantine zone as normal, but then when you meet Ellie, it unlocks the whole map, and now you're given a location and a beacon on the map telling you where to go, and you have to get there any way possible. Maybe there's also horses and cars you can also use to get across the map quicker, but you gotta find an engine for the car, or you'll need apple to tame the horse. I don't know what they want, I'm not a horse girl. I also think a heavier focus on the survival horror would be great, because even though it is in the genre, it doesn't feel like it at times. Like, a lot of point of survival horror is you feeling as underpowered as fucking possible, but in this game you can just pick up an endless amount of equipment. But I think a game that you could take elements from is Resident Evil 8. This game doesn't really have room for you to pick up anything you want, because not only is a big titty vampire lady chasing you, but you don't have an infinite amount of room for it. So you have to be really careful with how much stuff you pick up, and you really need to plan ahead on what you think will be important later. I also kind of like the idea of putting little Dark Souls bonfires to be little checkpoints throughout the map, but instead of bonfires it's like campsites and shit. And it works just like the bonfires do, that when you die you respawn back at the campsite. I don't know if I absolutely want this feature, but I did think that the ability to only craft at the campsite would be pretty interesting. I think this would just do an excellent job at building the horror and the tension the game doesn't really have otherwise. So let's say you're going into a collapsing skyscraper and the campsite was just outside of it. You go in and find clickers, so when they come and try to give you a wet sloppy kiss, you know when you respawn back at the campsite, you're gonna need to craft a shiv to stop the spread of fumes. Okay, but what about the people on your journey? They're pretty important to the story. Well, do it like Paper Mario. Maybe along the way on your journey you run into different people like Henry and Sam, and they say, we have to take a detour to get out of the city, and there's supplies at a house. So now you get a new beacon on the map of where the house is, and now you have to find a way there, and after you get there, Sam and Henry get a free meet and greet with God. So let's just do a quick recap. You play the game as normal through the opening of it, but then when you meet Ellie, the whole game opens up to you. And now, you've got a waypoint on the map saying where to go. And maybe throughout the game, when new stuff happens, it updates. Like when you first get to the Capitol building and Tess gets a bit freaky with one of the infected, you get an updated waypoint saying, go to Jackson and meet Tommy. Around the world, you'll find these little campsites that you can rest at and craft items, but you got a limited amount of room, so you got to plan carefully with how much stuff you craft. And once you've left this campsite, you can go off and continue your journey, but if you get killed, you'll respawn back at the campsite. But also around the world, you'll find some strangers that can help you advance in your journey that you wouldn't have been able to without them. And then when you get to the end of the game, you go through that whole linear bit with your save Ellie, and then boom, game's over. The Last of Us is one of my favourite games of all time, but the gameplay, it's always been shit, and I fucking hate it. And I really don't think making the game more open world and non-linear would have fucked it up. Because at the end of the day, the story of The Last of Us is watching these two people who didn't like each other at first begin to grow together. And I actually think a more non-linear playstyle could have improved it, because there could have been more chances for encounters with stuff like the poster in Pittsburgh. Obviously, with a story like this, you're going to need some linearity in a game. But I bet if they really tried, they could make this combination of linearity and non-linearity really work. But what do you think? I'm really curious about what other people think about The Last of Us' gameplay. Do you agree with me, or do you want me to do a triple backflip off a cliff? Thank you so much for watching my video, and let me know if there's any other games that you want me to put my 2 cents in so I can fix them.